From the Birmingham, Alabama jail.
Who's it from?
Martin Luther King.
Why is he in jail?
He personally led a march on April 12th, Good Friday. All protesters were quickly arrested by police because the state court had made demonstrations illegal.
How did it all start?
It began on April 3rd with the lunch counter sit-ins.
On April 6th, protesters marched on City Hall and 42 people were arrested.
Demonstrations occurred each day thereafter.
White businessmen were losing business and ready to consider desegregating their facilities and hiring African Americans.
But Birmingham city officials held fast to segregationist policies. On April 10th, these officials got injunction prohibiting the demonstrations from state court.
So King was arrested for marching. He didn't even get a phone call.
So his wife, Coretta Scott King, called the White House.
President Kennedy called back himself and sent FBI agents to Birmingham.
Segregation is unjust.
Alabama's laws prohibit black citizens from fully participating in democracy, which makes the laws particularly unjust and undemocratic.
Haven't some people called Dr. King an extremist?
Yes, Dr. King reminded everyone that other people thought Jesus and Abraham Lincoln was extremists too.
Dr. King is a moderate between the complacent blacks who don't believe change is possible or who are unwilling to sacrifice for true equality.
And the more violent factions like Black Muslim movement.
So what does the letter say?
First, Martin Luther King explained that he wasn't an outsider coming to Birmingham to cause trouble. He was invited by the SCLC to battle injustice.
He believed that all communities and states are interrelated, and he feels compelled to work for justice anywhere that injustice is being practiced.
King explained his group works non-violently, ready to suffer indignity and arrest.
He insists that negotiations cannot happen without protest, which creates a crisis and tension that forces unwilling parties
In this case, the white business owners.
to negotiate in good faith.
Change only happens when good men take action.
He believes that privileged groups will always oppose action that threatens the status quo, but it was time to act because the black community has waited long enough.
King mentioned how hurtful it is that his young daughter cannot go to the public amusement park because of her skin color.
He insists that individual has both a right and a responsibility to break unjust laws.
All like the ones in Nazi Germany that allow for Jewish persecution.
I bet Dr. King would have gladly broken those laws to support the oppressed class had he lived there.
What is a just law?
Those that uphold human dignity while unjust laws degrade human personality and hurt not only the oppressed, but also the oppressors, since they are given a false sense of superiority.
King believes that history will ultimately show that he and the protesters are the real heroes of the age, promoting the cause of peace and brotherhood.
On June 11th, President Kennedy voiced his commitment to the federal civil rights legislation.
He pushed for the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which was signed into law by Lyndon Johnson after Kennedy's assassination.
It mandated a commitment to desegregation and equal employment opportunities all across America.
It also gave federal government power to enforce desegregation laws in schools by withholding funds from non-compliant districts.
Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed discrimination in employment in the public facilities.
A year later, the Right and Right Act was signed by the law President Lyndon Johnson.
It overcame legal barriers at the state and local levels that prevented African Americans from exercising their right to vote under the 15th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States.
This is our hope.
This is the faith that we go back to the South with.
With this faith, we be able to hew out the mountain of the despair and instill hope.
Hue, isn't hue another word for shade of a color? Like crimson and scarlet are both shades or hue of red?
That kind of hue is spelled H-U-E. This hue, H-E-W, hue means to chop or cut something out.
With this faith, we'll be able to transform the juggling discourse of a national into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day.
This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with a new meaning.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
Land of my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring.
And if America is to be great, this has to become true.
So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire.
What does prodigious mean?
Remarkably or impressively great.
We risk our case.